Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
We've talked here quite a bit about civil asset forfeiture and how if law enforcement encounters you and you're carrying cash on you, they ask you why you've got so much cash on you. And then they say, well, we're going to take it from you because we're convinced that you're either about to commit a crime or you've already committed a crime. And this cash is evidence of that. And if you want your cash back, you got to sue us. And sometimes it costs more to sue them than it's worth. And so they make a lot of money that way. And one of the strangest ways that this has evolved is people started reporting that they go to the airport to fly someplace. So you go through the whole gauntlet of the TSA and the kiosk to get your boarding pass, and you're walking down here and you're getting in line over here. And people are saying that they would actually be called to enter the plane. And as they're walking down the jetway to the plane, somebody would walk up to them and say, excuse me, I want to ask you some questions. And it'd be a federal agent interviewing people who are about to get on a plane. Normally, you're not being quizzed at that spot. So it seemed very, very strange that would happen in that spot. But it turns out that if you're carrying cash, they pull people out of line, take their cash from them and say, sorry, too bad. And now a couple of these got caught on camera. And it turns out that if you see the footage, it looks really bad. So the Institute for Justice has gotten involved in this, and they have a big announcement that they just made. The Department of Justice suspends controversial airport interdictions after viral footage showing DEA agents threatening and abusing an innocent traveler. So the Department of Justice suspended the DEA's controversial practice of having agents intercept travelers, interrogate them, and insist on searching their bags in what the agency called consensual encounters. So you're at the airport and someone walks up to you and flashes a badge and goes, can I talk to you? They're saying that you could say no. But everyone knows that you cooperate at the airport. You know better than to give anybody a hard time at the airport. That's been hammered into our heads ever since 9/11. Okay? You go to the airport, you're on your best behavior, you don't goof around, you don't joke around. Someone wants to talk, you talk to them. They ask you a question, you give them an answer. Okay? So the suspension comes in the heels of an Office of the Inspector General report, also issued recently, that criticizes the practice and refers to shocking footage of one traveler's experience, which the Institute for Justice released on YouTube back in July. Today's OIG report confirms what we've been saying for years about predatory DEA practices at airports and the allegations in our nationwide class action lawsuit against the DEA over these abuses. That's a senior attorney at the IJ, Dan Elbin, speaking. We welcome DOJ's suspension of the program as a first step, but policy directives can be changed at any time under this or future administrations. We call on Congress to pass the FAIR Act to permanently reform federal civil forfeiture laws, to end the profit incentive, close the equitable sharing loophole, and to guarantee every property owner receives their day in court by ending so-called administrative forfeitures. And what they're talking about there are a couple of things they would do, but equitable sharing was the way that they pulled a little maneuver on you. So a local police department seizes the money from you and hands it over to the feds and goes, hey guys, we took this money from somebody we think is a drug dealer or something. And then the feds take the money and go, oh, okay, thank you. And oh, by the way, since you gave us some, we'll give you some back. So when you go to sue the police who took it from you, they go, we haven't got it anymore. We gave it to the feds. Sue them. And so normally, if you were just to go sue the people who took your money, they'd have to defend themselves. And a small town might not want to do that. But with equitable sharing, they can give it to the feds, who then give some money back, and now you got to go sue the feds. So it's another incentive for these small town police departments to do this, and big town ones as well. The IJ is currently suing the DEA and the TSA over their airport seizure and forfeiture practices. The lawsuit from 3 travelers and a class of people who had their property seized is currently in discovery. And keep in mind that TSA is designed supposedly to keep airplanes safe by screening people and their bags that get on board airplanes, right? But if the TSA spots someone carrying cash, they will then call the police. And the police will show up and go, hey, we understand you're carrying a lot of cash on you. Who told you that? Oh, the TSA, when they went through your bags. See, they're going through your bags for safety purposes. But when they find money, they tip us off. In addition to lawsuits to protect travelers with their property seized, IJ advocates for legislation that would end the profit incentive that fuels unconstitutional searches. In the recent Congress, the House Judiciary Committee unanimously approved legislation to reform federal civil forfeiture. That's H.R. 1525, the Fifth Amendment Integrity Restoration Act, or FAIR. Among many reforms in the bill, the FAIR Act would send all forfeiture funds to the U.S. Treasury general fund rather than funds controlled directly by law enforcement agencies. And we talked about that also. The law enforcement agencies that seize a lot of money often have so much money they don't know what to do with it. So they go out and they buy armored vehicles, and they buy themselves decorative badges, and they buy themselves Super Bowl tickets, and daiquiri makers, and popcorn machines. And these are all things they've actually bought with money seized from people. So this is another great example of something that's come about, at least partially, due to pressure from the Institute for Justice. And I've told you this before, and I'm going to say it again. I encourage you to support them. The Institute for Justice advances a rule of law under which individuals can control their destinies as free and responsible members of society. IJ litigates to secure economic liberty, educational choice, private property rights, freedom of speech, and other vital individual liberties, and to restore constitutional limits on the power of government. So the IJ is a nonprofit organization. They do great work, but they survive entirely on the support of people who donate to them. I'm going to put their website in the description box below this video. I urge you to click on it, support them if you can. If you're just curious about what they do, click on the website, take a look at it, and bookmark it. And just look at what they do. They've got a newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. See what they do. You'll be amazed at the kinds of stories that are out there that they're getting involved in. And remind yourself that most of the cases they're handling, nobody would handle otherwise. And the only reason they're doing it is because they get support from people who go, hey, I like the work these guys are doing, and gals, I will support that. So this right here is, I would say, largely the result of pressure from the Institute for Justice, as well as other people who stood up and said, hey, this is wrong. So this is from a press release from the IJ. Department of Justice suspends controversial airport interdictions after viral footage showing DEA agents threatening and abusing an innocent traveler. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings.